What's the best thing that happened during a walk after class? I was walking back to my dorm after failing my calculus midterm when I saw this old man sitting on a bench feeding pigeons with tears running down his face. And without thinking, I sat down next to him and asked if he was okay. And he told me his wife of 50 years had just passed away that morning and he didn't know what to do with himself. The whole day had been terrible from the moment I woke up because I'd studied for weeks for that exam and still bombed it completely, walking out of the classroom knowing I'd probably have to retake the entire course. My phone was blowing up with texts from my parents asking how the test went, and I couldn't bring myself to tell them I'd failed again. So I just put my phone on silent and took the long way back to avoid running into anyone I knew. I'd been walking with my head down staring at the sidewalk replaying every question I'd gotten wrong, mentally calculating how this would tank my GPA and maybe cost me my scholarship. The campus was pretty empty because it was late afternoon and most people were either in class or already back in their rooms, and I was so lost in my own thoughts about being a failure that I almost walked right past the bench. Something made me look up and I saw him sitting there in this nice suit with a handful of birdseed, and the pigeons were crowding around his feet but he wasn't really watching them. His shoulders were shaking and I could see him wiping his eyes with a handkerchief, and normally I would have just kept walking because I had my own problems to deal with, but something about the way he looked so alone made me stop. We sat there for 2 hours while he told me stories about meeting his wife at a dance in 1973 and how they'd sit on this exact bench every Sunday for the past 20 years, and when he finally stood up to leave he shook my hand and thanked me for listening. I walked back to my dorm and called my parents to tell them about the exam, and somehow it didn't feel like such a big deal anymore. That night I went back to the bench and there was a small bouquet of flowers tied to the armrest, teaching me that perspective comes when you stop obsessing over your own problems long enough to see that everyone around you is fighting battles you know nothing about.